Okay.
Dr. Rabai, you're live. Please go ahead.
Okay. So hello and thank you all for being here and joining us this morning. So my name is Ahmed Riyad Rabai. I'm the ICT Program Manager working at QNRF, Qatar National Research Fund. As you may know, ROS, or Research Outcome Seminar, is a part of a series of public seminars designed to disseminate the main results of successful QNRF grants in a specific theme. It represents our commitment to share the outcome of locally conducted research to the large public, local stakeholder, and the research community in general. So the theme of today, Ross, is Fintech and Blockchain-based Technology. So what is fintech? So in a very short statement, so it is simply technology applied to financial sector like banking, mobile banking, trading, social trading, insurance, and fundraising. So it will reshape the future of banking and payment industry. And certainly it will transform personal and corporate finance in the near future. And of course, it includes mining and harnessing of data with machine learning, artificial intelligence, mobile and cloud computing, 5G networks, etc. So blockchain is another disruptive technology. It's mainly linked to cryptocurrency and defines a new type of database where data are stored in blocks and chained in decentralized and secure way. So there is no central governance. So it's permanently recorded, immutable, and accessible by anyone. So blockchain will be the ultimate game changer in the multiple industries like energy, real estate, travel, healthcare, supply chain, and it will completely reshape the content distribution in the future. So it is important to mention that this smart technology like fintech, healthtech, smart building, smart home, smart society, EduTech, Industry 4.0, blockchain, they are all merged on a macro level of a smart and a sustainable city and digital citizenship. So where there is a multiple and infinite variety of application and services that can be designed to better serve the society and its different communities. So such digital transformation is also bringing together services that can be chained from different sectors and that can be chained together. For example, fintech can be there is an overlap between fintech and also insurtech, and also insurtech on its own turn overlap with health tech. So in this context, as part of Qatar National Vision 2030, Qatar is planning to be a post-carbon society as well as a digital and smart hub for various upcoming mega international events that Qatar has in its agenda. So data is the future. And Qatar will gradually be moving toward a knowledge-based hydro data-driven economy. So this is well captured in the new RDI priority area released by Qatar Foundation R&D Council, or Research and Development Innovation Council, under the Digital Technology pillar. In terms of impact, our today's agenda is a testimony of our commitment to invest in this new technology. It will be a 100-minute agenda, light in chunk yet fat in content. It will cover various areas from fintech, regtech, to various applications of blockchain in energy sector, cybersecurity, supply chain. As a moderator for this event, it's my duty to remind you to post your question anytime on the chat box, and I will convey them for clarification and interaction with the lead PIs. After each presentation, there will be a quick 2-3 minutes of a question answer session with each presenter. So please write your question along with your name and institution on the chat box. I will start now without further ado by giving the floor to Dr. Munir, our ICT Senior Program Manager at QNRF, for his welcome message. So Dr. Munir, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmed. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good morning to all of you. It's my pleasure to welcome you on behalf of all of us at Qatar National Research Fund to today's special research outcome seminar that focuses on financial technologies, more commonly known as fintech, which is playing an increasingly important role in today's modern society and economy. Qatar has a rich history and growing role in regional and international business and trade, and has rapidly emerged as a global capital of using advanced technologies needed for today's digital era. Undoubtedly, the research sector has an important role to play in this to address the emerging challenges we are currently facing in financial transactions, security, regulations, and the role of research has increased manifold as all these challenges have been intensified by the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. Qatar National Research Fund, as you might know, was established by Qatar Foundation in 2006 to support and promote research that can help Qatar achieve its vision of developing a sustainable, diversified economy and build its local human capital. We are committed to the advancement of knowledge and education by providing funding opportunities for original, competitively selected research and development programs in energy, environment and sustainable development, ICT and digital technologies, health, society, and other fields to distinguish Qatar within the region and across the world as a progressive nation that embraces scholarly excellence, innovation, creativity, inclusiveness, and merit. Under Information and Communication Technologies, or ICT, QNRF has proudly funded several promising projects in cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, Arabic language processing, next generation networks, smart grids, cloud computing, mobility and road safety, ICT application in health and education, in addition to fintech and blockchain. The Fintech Revolution has actually started with the introduction of credit cards in 1960 and has been revolutionized with digital and blockchain technologies since. Fintech services are characterized as the financial services of the 21st century. Recent growth in mobile application and usage of websites among users has hinted towards the inclusion of Fintech Revolution in the global financial sector as well. Hence, Fintech is often referred to as the blend of digital innovation and financial services with the aim to improve the efficiency of the financial service industry. Therefore, Fintech can be regarded as a convenient and much needed marriage of technological innovation and finance, which elevates the financial service industry to new heights. Fintech can ensure operating efficiency, improve customer-centric services, and lead to better transparency in the financial service sectors. Moreover, it can positively improve the growth of financial services industry by reducing the probability of a financial crisis. Similarly, the use of blockchain-based solutions can allow fintech to control the increasing cost of transactions and can help to manage profit-sharing agreements. Benefits of blockchain in creating smart contracts have already attracted many financial enterprises today. Dear colleagues, Qatar has made remarkable progress in the fintech space in a very short time. Several major developments have taken place in the last year, including the launch of Qatar National Fintech Strategy and the Qatar Fintech Hub and its incubator and accelerator programs, as well as the Qatar Financial Center, Fintech Circle, and Tech Talk series. E-commerce sales in Qatar are expected to reach more than $3.2 billion by 2022, as many retailers and consumers shift to online platforms, allowing substantial growth of digital payment gateways and contactless payment, according to the Qatar Financial Center Refinitiv report. Islamic fintech is expected to experience significant growth in coming years, and Qatar has the opportunity to secure a unique advantage over other Islamic fintech hubs through Sharia-compliant venture capital. However, the fintech has yet to mark its presence in the financial industry as compared to the high degree of adoption of digital technologies. Therefore, QNRF has funded several projects to innovate ways and solutions to explore challenges and contribute by highlighting research agenda that could improve the integration of fintech and digital technologies such as blockchain. Ladies and gentlemen, QNRF is committed to exploiting the results of its funded research and development projects. We believe that dissemination, good communication, and synergy among stakeholders are the key to address our challenges and contribute to the long-term economic sustainability and prosperity of people of Qatar. This research outcome seminar is an illustration of an excellent collaboration among Qatari and international partners and the impactful outcome it has produced. We are very pleased to share these outcomes resulting from our funded projects with you today. These outcomes will no doubt lead to considerable impact through their adoption by the financial sector and industry at large in Qatar and the region. Finally, I would like to thank our colleagues in QNRF and speakers from different institutions for organizing and contributing to this important and timely event, and I am looking forward to the ensuing fruitful discussion and interactions. I wish you all a successful event. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Munir. Thank you, Dr. Munir, for presenting some figures and about our QNRF portfolio, research capacity, and scientific production in these areas. So moving on to our first speaker, Dr. Mazen Al-Masri. He is currently an associate professor at College of Business and Economics at Qatar University. He is a project director of a cluster project. So I need to remind that this is the largest program in QNRF portfolio in terms of budget and expected outcome. So Dr. Mazen, the floor is yours.
Thank you, everyone. Let me share the screen first. Hello, everyone. My name is Mazen Al-Masri. Thank you for the introduction, Dr. Munir. I'm a professor at Qatar University and the director of the NPRP cluster on FinTech of Cycle 11. The project started early 2020, so it's been a year since we started the project. And the objective of the presentation today is just to highlight some of the advances that we've done on the project. As Dr. Munir said, it's a large project, 3 years. The approximate budget is about $3 million. We are multiple institutions from inside and outside of Qatar. Inside of Qatar, we have PIs and lead PIs from different Qatari institutions like Hamad bin Khalifa University and QCRI and Qatar University. So since I don't have much time, I'll just jump straight into the presentation. The presentation is structured as follows. First, I'll describe the motivation behind the project, and then I'll describe the program itself, the whole program, the cluster program and its sub-projects. I'll delve very briefly into the objectives of every sub-project and the advances that were done. Since I don't have much time, I will not go into the details of every sub-project because I would like to, at the end of the presentation, to present a use case that is more business-driven. Yeah, basically that's how the agenda will be structured. So when we started the project, we saw the call from QNRF about fintech and about trying to find a solution to advance financial services in Qatar. So we started looking into the market and identifying places where we could add value. We spoke with different banks in Qatar, and they've highlighted the situation of basically financing trade and the long and tedious process of financing trade. And basically, the banks told us that the vast majority of trade is financed through a letter of credit, which is resource intensive, time consuming, and it has negative effects on the traders themselves and on the supply chain as a whole process. That discussion was confirmed by businesses. We also spoke with the small, medium, and large businesses here in Qatar, who also, when it comes to small businesses, they had issues with accessing credit. So SMEs, and this would be the case today that we will discuss. SMEs face that the shortage in liquidity, and also with the delays in the shipping. So we spoke also with the Customs and Ports Authority, who described to us the situation at the ports and the difficulties in authenticating certain trade-related documents. And put all of this information together, we suggested that we use a blockchain technology to basically integrate the different authorities in the country and speed up the process of trade. So instead of having the documentation and the process be cut throughout and partly manual, maybe partly digital, we suggested that we put a platform for all authorities to integrate to and streamline the process. This will reduce the delays. It will help out in terms of authentication of certain documents, but it also allows us to see the whole image. We see the whole process of trade, and we could also identify bottlenecks in this process and improve the performance of supply or supply chain finance or the trade finance process itself. So we build up a team. The team is comprised of basically two main entities here in Qatar, HBKU and QCRI, who are taking the technology aspect, taking charge of the technology aspect of the project, and Qatar University that is taking charge of the business aspect, the legal aspect, and as well as the optimization aspect or creation of value. So in specific, we have the lead PI, Dr. Yin Yang from HBKU, who's taking care of the infrastructure. Dr. Ting from QCRI is taking the security aspect of the project. Dr. Sanjay Shola is taking the intelligence part of the project, also from QCRI. Dr. Muhammad Al-Huwari is in charge of the optimization or the co-creation of value aspect of the project. Dr. Muhammad Al-Khlaifi with Dr. John Truby are taking charge of the legal aspect and the governance aspect, and the College of Business, led by me, is taking the project management aspect. So in a nutshell, what we wanted to do is digitize the already paper-driven process of trade finance that is driven by the letter of credit, and as well as automate the authentication of these documents across the supply chain process. As well as innovate, try to find a new financial instrument other than the letter of credit instrument that is currently being used mainly used in Qatar. So try to find some innovative financial utilities for the small and medium enterprises here in Qatar to benefit from. Since we have an oversight of the whole process, find ways to optimize the process. So we looked at optimizing the logistics operation at the ports by bundling shipment and by optimizing the flow of imports at the port. So basically scheduling shipment arrivals. Lastly, since again we have the view of the whole blockchain and all the information that is on the blockchain, one added value that we could provide is by automating identifying financial terrorism or knowing your customer, scoring the creditworthiness of businesses, and fighting money laundering. So I'll dig a little bit into every sub-project and describe what every sub-project is in charge of, and then I'll discuss as one use case. Hopefully, I'll have enough time for that. So when it comes to the infrastructure, Dr. Ying is looking at ways to be able to reverse transactions, not allow forking of the blockchain, so some technical aspects of this, be able to scale up transactions, authenticate data presentation, and work on resisting distributed denial of service and poisoning attacks. One important aspect that we progressed in this past year is to convert the resource wasting proof of work consensus algorithm that exists in the vast majority of blockchain infrastructure to a productive proof of work. I will not talk about this time. Maybe next time we will talk about this because of the lack of time. A resource complementarity project is driven by Dr. Muhammad Al-Hawari from Qatar University, and their objective is to digitize the letter of credit, to develop new financial instruments, to automate and optimize the supply chain, and to measure the impact of everything we're doing from a micro level, from a national level. The security sub-project is in charge of advancing the security of the technology itself by securing the private keys, separating transactional data from metadata, and protecting the smart contracts, as well as looking at the peripheries. So the interfaces, securing the utilities of FinTech and RegTech. The augmented intelligence sub-project that is led by Dr. Sanjay looks at using artificial intelligence and machine learning to improve the evaluation of creditworthiness, to simulate bundle shipment, to ensure regulatory compliance, and to extract data using optical character recognition, OCR technology, identifying fraud, and securing, increasing the security of blockchain. And lastly, the sub-project on governance basically is in charge of building up the ecosystem, ensuring collaboration with the different stakeholders, incorporating new stakeholders to our community, defining the legal framework with the different stakeholders like Qatar Financial Center, Regulatory Authority, and the Central Bank, advancing these policies, promoting them, and ensuring the continuity of the project. So basically, the benefits of our work touches on different sides in Qatar in terms of the banking industry, the reduction of waste of resources when it comes to cost and time, by streamlining the trade finance process, improving risk evaluation of businesses, diversifying the market by providing new utilities, financial utilities, and improving profitability. For the central bank, with the oversight of all the information across the blockchain, we will be able to advance AML and the RegTech instruments like AML and financial terrorism. For businesses, small businesses specifically, they will be able to get better access to credit, speed up the trade cycle, increase their working capital, and reducing shipment and the cost and time of shipment. And for the customs authority, our technology is expected to reduce the congestion and to identify fraud through the validation of financial instruments. So in terms of progress, I put them all on one slide. Those are the work packages that are either completed in the past year or they are in progress to be completed. On the security side, we've advanced well the insurance of smart contracts and the analytics of blockchain against financial fraud. On the augmented intelligence part, we've advanced well the credit scoring utility, which will be discussed today, and certain other security aspects of the blockchain. For value co-creation, we've completed the shipment bundling part, and now we are in process of implementation. For the infrastructure, we've also worked on the productive proof of work and other parts like the Byzantine fault tolerance protocol. And this will is already also is implemented in our blockchain lab. And lastly, when it comes to governance, we are continue to work with the ecosystem and ensure collaboration with other stakeholders. So output, I also want, and this is a list, not a complete list of publications, but in terms of output, we have different outputs when it comes to research publications, journal publications, and conference publications. But we also have some patents that we've either disclosed or in the process of disclosing. I think two patents and one technical product. And when it comes to software or the technological tools, we've also developed a few. One of them is Toshi, that is developed by QCRI. We also built the network, the Quorum blockchain network. We use Quorum as a technology. We are in the process of developing a new productive proof of work. We've completed the OCR reader, the reader of financial transactions, the optical character recognition reader, and we are almost complete with the credit score component. All right, so that's basically in terms of output. The rest of the time I have, I will delve a bit deeper in one use case. If Dr. Mudir tells me how much time I have, I could see how fast I could talk. But one of the objectives was to provide an instrument to small and medium enterprises in order for them to get better access to credit. The situation in Qatar and all around the world is that small and medium enterprises, although they contribute a lot to employment and to the GDP, and they are really the vast majority of companies around the world, around 96% of the companies in the MENA region are micro, small, or medium enterprises, but at the end they don't get any recognition for that, for their involvement in the economy. They don't get recognition in terms of lending. In fact, in the GCC region, only 2% of SMEs get lending from financial institutions. This is compared to 22% or 24%, if I'm not mistaken, around the developed world, and 8% in the MENA region. So here in GCC, we really have a shortage in lending to SMEs.
Dr. Mazen, 1 minute to go, please.
Excellent. All right. So, yeah, I'll try to speed up here. So what we did is we built up an alternative approach to evaluate credit based on the DeFi principles, the decentralized finance principles that have been produced in the past couple of years in the industry. This algorithm or this credit scoring component, what it's supposed to do is to, instead of using collateral to back up the loan or the credit history of a business to back up the loan, it uses trust as an alternative. So it's we look at trusting the management of the company, the product itself, the name or the brand that this company represents, the behavior of the company in terms of their abilities to pay and their continuity in paying certain utility bills, etc., and the reputation that is on social media. So basically what we looked at is building a different credit scoring model that uses artificial intelligence to read and interpret financial instruments to analyze the financial status of the organization. Also looks at the financial literacy, their understanding of finance of this company. So basically looking at the management of the company and understanding how they behave and their attitude towards finance. We also built a component to go online and extract some useful data about the reputation of the company from social media accounts, social media platforms like Google and Instagram, and also used OCR again to interpret the behavior of businesses, their ability to pay. So our credit scoring model, what it does is so businesses provide certain information about their business and certain documents. The OCR technology interprets these documents, tries to identify fraud, goes online, collects some information about the reputation of the company. Again, use AI to put all of these information together build a credit score and put it on the blockchain in order for lenders to look into it and invest in it if they like it. So this is basically the process that we are trying to complete at the moment. Our objective is allowing businesses to get access to credit when they do not have the sufficient credit history or collateral to back up their request. This has been mimicking the decentralized finance platforms that exist in around the world. Some of them, I'll go back to this. Some of these players have increased in growth exponentially in the past year or so, from being less than $1 billion industry to over $60 billion in 20. So that growth is only in 1 year. So the benefit, basically, I won't go to the end. The benefit.
Thank you, Dr. Mazen. I think we are, yes.
Yeah, I'll just wrap it up.
If you want to wrap up, yes.
Yeah, I'll wrap it up here. This utility, this tool, is one of the advances we've had in the project. We've discussed it with Qatar Financial Center last week, and what this requires is involvement from the industry, involvement from the legal institutions here in Qatar. So our next step is to talk to legal firms and see how they can collaborate in improving the agreement process between lenders and borrowers. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Mazen, for your presentation and all the presented the outcome of the sub-project and all the and the use case, the credit scorer use case is very interesting to see about it. So I will ask for if we have questions so that we can, I need to remind our attendees that they can submit their questions under the chat box so that we can read them and ask our lead PIs for clarification and questions if you do have. So please submit or post your question on the chat box. So meanwhile, I will have a quick interaction with Dr. Mazen and to thank him about his presentation again. The use case is very useful, and I saw that you have presented various interesting outcomes resulted from different sub-projects. And from software, from patent filing, publication. And my question here, especially for the software part and do we, all these outcomes, can we be merged all together in one simple framework that taken into consideration all the legal, business, technological aspect? It's kind of let's say sandboxing, but including so many, not only for technological testing, or no, just from legal, business, and technological and economical aspect. So please, if you, thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed, for your question. And indeed, it's perhaps the most important question to us. There are many sub-projects. Every sub-project is advancing their part. At one point, we need to integrate them all together. In fact, we started doing this integration. So if we look at the credit scoring component that I briefly described today, it's a joint effort between the infrastructure sub-project and the co-creation of value sub-project. At the same time, we are advancing the regulatory framework to support this, because such a credit scoring component needs support from the industry. So that's why last week we went and presented it for Qatar Financial Center and collected their feedback. So at one point, not only do we need to integrate the business aspect of credit scoring that comes from one sub-project here that is run by Qatar University with the infrastructure sub-project that is advanced by HBKU. We also need to advance as well the regulatory framework that is run by Qatar University's legal department. So yes, we are in the process of integration. When it comes to providing the results to the legal institutions here in Qatar, we needed a prototype, and we are currently finalizing that prototype in order to showcase it with Qatar Financial Center Regulatory Authority.
Thank you, Dr. Mazen. So my last question, it's actually interaction with you, but in 1 minute, if you can give me a very quick answer on the how do you see or how do you think about the future of fintech in Qatar? So in other words, so how do you think that fintech is suitable now in Qatar?
Is it suitable? I think fintech is suitable all around the world, especially in countries that lack the financial backbone. Our financial backbone here in Qatar is strong, and that is why the appetite, if I might say, the appetite of the financial system is not as what we like it to be. What needs to be advanced at this point is, in fact, from us, the innovators, whether we are new startups at QFC or whether we are at academic institutions. Our objective now, or the need now, is to showcase what we could produce and how what we could produce positively affects at least the financial system, or perhaps at best the economy as a whole. So it's a joint collaboration. We need the input of the ecosystem here in Qatar, and we also need the appetite. To get the appetite, we should show value, and this is what we're trying to do at the moment.
Yeah, thank you so much. The two ingredients are available here, and hopefully that we will even have more and more projects on around the fintech inside Qatar. Thank you again, Dr. Mazen. We will move. Thank you. So we will move now to now we will have a presentation by Dr. Andrew Dahal. So he's an assistant professor at College of Law, Qatar University. He will update us about the latest deployment effort in fintech technology inside the country, and all the regulatory framework challenge. Dr. Andrew, please take the lead.
Thank you. Is the presentation clear to you?
I think yes, but you are still not in live.
Okay.
I think yes. Now you are on live. Yes, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you to QNRF for the invitation and for the opportunity to share some of the outcomes of this particular project. A lot of the discussion from the previous speaker, Dr. Mazen, was related to, particularly in the last part, the legal and regulatory framework that supports fintech in Qatar. And so the main objective of this particular project was to look at what laws and regulations are required to turbocharge and facilitate the growth of fintech in Qatar. So this project is a social science project because it's in the College of Law. So the outcomes aren't going necessarily to be patents and scientific discoveries of that nature. They are more so understanding the nature of the technology we are going to regulate. Dr. Rabai talked about all the various types of technologies that can be classified as fintech, and it can be quite bewildering to people to understand the scope of these innovations. So this project was trying to understand the nature of these technologies, the economic constraints and opportunities that they present, looking at the cultural norms in Qatar, what is appropriate to the Qatari community, and making public policy suggestions and insights with the priorities of Qatari policymakers in mind. So this team specifically wanted to engage with stakeholders in the Qatari community, from individuals through to financial institutions, technology companies, and regulators, as well as educational institutions, to understand what is needed from a legal perspective to help support the growth of fintech in Qatar. The economic opportunities have been well articulated, so I won't go through those. And there are specific cultural norms to Qatar, which I'll talk about, things to do with privacy that and industries such as Islamic banking, where there are particular considerations that policymakers should look at. So I'll get to the core outcomes of this project now that we are halfway through it. And the core outcomes that we are, or suggestions that we are making to policymakers and that we will be working on in the next 18 months is specific regulations to do with payment services in Qatar, and a particular type of phenomenon called stored value facilities. Now that's just a technical term to refer to someone having funds on a platform that they can use in a particular way. So you can think of Talabat Cash, you can think of Uber Cash, you can think of, I think last week or the week before, Ooredoo and MasterCard launched a prepaid card, which you can use essentially as a digital wallet. So you need laws and rules around this to make sure that customers are being protected, that if they put money on a platform, the money can be withdrawn in an efficient way, that there are time limits to, if money is not accounted for and it's the account is not touched in 24 months or something, what rules will apply to the platform about what they can do with this. So payment services regulations is an area that we have discussed with the Qatar Central Bank, and my understanding is they are quite advanced in their drafting of these regulations, although these regulations are not yet public. With these regulations, it will really support a whole range of fintech innovations to do with payments, to do with even things like loyalty programs and how you can manage those particular values that are stored digitally. Now, the main one, what I believe to be the key regulation that will unlock a lot of value throughout the Qatari economy in fintech is open banking, which is data sharing. Many jurisdictions around the world already have these regulations to manage how banks share financial data with third-party platforms. So Dr. Mazen previously was talking about the trade finance sector to support startups or scale-ups that want to get into this sector and want to have an innovative idea about credit scoring, for example. They will need to access information, financial information that is held by banks. This has to be done in a safe way, a way that makes sure that cybersecurity is accounted for, that makes sure KYC is accounted for, and make sure that banks understand that this is not competition to them. This is a value proposition, an additional source of revenue even, and it's a change in their business model that banks really need to think about and not be threatened by. So open banking can help with apps like in Qatar. There's an app, Spendwiser, which is looking at budgeting, and it will need access to people's transaction information to be able to present their financial profile. Comparison websites, being able to compare interest rates for loans, for example. Third-party platforms like in Dubai, Souq al-Mal will need access to product information from banks. Now, the third party needs to be designated or authorized by an entity, possibly the central bank, so that the bank who's sharing the information can do so with confidence that this information is not being compromised and it remains within a legally controlled environment. So those are the two core outcomes. The ancillary outcomes of this particular project are many, and some are obvious and some less so. The obvious outcome is that we found that a well-connected and inclusive fintech ecosystem is vital. And when we talk about ecosystem, it's very dehumanizing. An ecosystem is a community of engaged stakeholders. Okay, so Qatar, because of its size, the ecosystem is very familiar. You can pick up the phone and talk to the regulator. The regulator will know you by name. You're not just going to be another number. So that is a positive for Qatar. The regulators generally around the world need to enhance their tech literacy in order that they understand the technology that they are regulating. So this is not a Qatar-specific problem, although it is quite prevalent in Qatar, but generally all over the world. COVID-19 has accelerated the adoption of financial technology over the past 18 months. It hasn't changed the trajectory, it's just enhanced the speed of adoption. And there are several specific fintech subsectors that I think Qatar needs to focus on, or there are opportunities in Qatar for enterprise, and they are payment services and Islamic finance and fintech. There are also certain areas that are not going to develop at the moment in Qatar, and those are crypto assets and cryptocurrencies. But blockchain is not just crypto assets. There are alternative uses to blockchain, such as the trade finance use case. The project has got wide recognition in the media, and it's being acknowledged that the academic component of Qatar's ecosystem is one of its positive attributes. So we have some of the leading experts from around the world on fintech regulation as part of this project, and we are being recognized for the work that we are doing. So what are the actions that we have taken based on these, the work that we have done in community outreach, discussion and research? We've worked with the Qatar Financial Center to help their licensing team understand the nature of fintech businesses and how they will fit within a newly devised fintech licensing category. So the Qatar financial sector does have a licensing regulation category, but it's mainly focused on business to business fintech space rather than business to consumer fintech transactions. So we worked with the Qatar Financial Center to help them understand what is the business model, how do these businesses make money, and where are the risks that need to be acknowledged by regulators. We've also worked on capacity building within the broader community by having educational seminars on comparative regulation, so looking what's happening in Singapore, what's happening in some quite unexpected places like Luxembourg and Malta. They are actually quite ahead of the game, and they are small jurisdictions that are quite comparable to Qatar. Institutional collaborations. We've worked closely with the Qatar Fintech Hub, which is launched through the Qatar Development Bank. I'm a mentor in that program. So we've also worked with, we've had discussions with the Qatar Central Bank regarding their impending sandbox, which is not yet launched. Global impact is that one of our publications to do with financial technology and the COVID-19 crisis was featured on Oxford University's business law blog. And we were also invited to participate in the UN Secretary General high-level meeting on digital finance and how it can be harnessed to meet sustainable development goals, which seems to be an emerging priority for the next decade. So to give you a snapshot of the regulatory ecosystem in Qatar, the Qatar Central Bank is at the middle or at the heart of the whole framework. The other major players are the Qatar Development Bank, the MOTC, QFC, QFMA, and Ministry of Commerce and Industry. One of the real positives of the Qatari framework is its concentration of information. I mean, everything is linked to your Qatar ID, your phone number. You can do so much through Matrash, which is a great example of RegTech, regulatory technology. If there is a way to leverage this information in the private sector without compromising privacy, for example, through blockchain technology, that could really also provide a leg up for the Qatari sector. So academia is now plugged in, hopefully, effectively into this ecosystem so that our research is having real impact on the understanding amongst incumbent banks, amongst consumers, and amongst regulators as to where are the fault lines that are present in the ecosystem. So this is some of the events that we have held as part of the MPRP project, capacity building at the Qatar Financial Center, looking at digital currencies. Central bank digital currencies are now being considered in by many central banks around the world. I don't know the situation in Qatar on this. It's quite quiet on this issue, but we have actively looked at this to be ahead of the game. So there is understanding in the Qatari community amongst regulators about what are digital currencies, both private and public.
Thank you. So you are 1 minute, Dr.
Sure. Okay, I'll just highlight in this last minute the Stakeholder Symposium held last year just before COVID crisis hit, where we brought together all the stakeholders, which was a key priority, including the Qatar Central Bank, Qatar Development Bank, law firms, entrepreneurs, academics, and we looked at what are the key priority areas that Qatar needs to focus on in terms of regulation. And out of this engagement, the key priorities, the legal infrastructure that is essential to really realize the potential of fintech in Qatar. I mean, there's activity happening. There are, many startups and firms, but they need certainty, and clarification of the law will provide that certainty, that confidence, and that ability. Just because something is not regulated doesn't mean it's not permitted. Okay, regulation comes in to support activities, not to allow them, and that's an important distinction. And on that point, I'd like to finish up with by the numbers. The project has produced several publications, presentations, book chapters, practice notes, and it's been prominent in the media as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Andrew, for your presentation. It's comprehensive, and it shows us the legal and the regulation side of fintech, and this is really a key or a pillar to be able to adopt this type of technology in the future, in the near future actually. And the main key points that we can take, that there is an urgent, if we need to do some effort, there is an urgent regulation that that will boost the fintech in Qatar, one on the payment service and the other one on the banking, open banking or data sharing between the institution. And yes, we agree with you that the current pandemic also accelerate the adoption of digital payment services and the contactless technology. So all of this was accelerated also with the current pandemic situation. So I will see if we can have some questions over here. Yes. So yeah, there is one question, is a general question that asking if those slides can be available on the website after the seminar. There is a lot of information to absorb. So if we can have a PDF presentation of our lead PI so that we can make them available later on. So we will try to make them available through one channel. We will see with Sheikh Abdullah how can we make them available. So yeah, so regarding one last interaction, Dr. Andrew, is about the QDB initiative, the Qatar Fintech Hub. Can you give us some clarification about this initiative and the goals of this Qatar Fintech Hub? In 1 minute, Doctor.
So the Qatar Fintech Hub provides support to companies in Qatar and outside of Qatar who want to grow their business in the Qatari market. So the Qatar Fintech Hub connects them with key information, key decision makers, and provides them with support in Qatar they're up to their second wave now. The first wave was payments, and the second wave is about to launch. And there's been strong interest all over the world, not just from the region, but we've had companies from Russia, Australia show interest in this initiative, and it looks like it's quite successful.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Andrew. So now I think we need to move to our third presentation of the day. It will be delivered by Professor Roberto Di Pietro. He's currently a full professor at the College of Science and Engineering at Hamad bin Khalifa University, who is working on extending blockchain technology applications. So, and other than the cryptocurrency and the usual, as Professor Andrew mentioned in his presentation. So, Professor Roberto, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. Thank you, everyone. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, you are live now, online.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending. That's the outline for this presentation. Basically, we'll go for an introduction. I want to introduce you three main results we are going to achieving through this MPRP. And then we have also a glance at the results, and then we'll draw some conclusion. So first, a word about the research team I'm leading. It's a Cybersecurity Research and Innovation Lab. We have a vision, which is to achieve excellence in cybersecurity at both research in terms of fundamental and applied challenges in the field, as well as to have impact and generate innovation. Blockchain is something that actually is very well poised for achieving our strategic objectives. Key data about this MPRP: there are principal investigators from Ministry of Defense, principal investigator from University of Washington in St. Louis, and RPI, which is Dr. Spiros Bakiras from HBKU. The project is supposed to run over 3 years. The funding is full funding, like $600,000, and the co-funding for more than $400,000. So overall, the project is worth more than $1 million. Background, because blockchain is a technology which is completely independent from Bitcoin, but we also address specifically Bitcoin for a number of reasons. It just reached recently $1 trillion capitalization. Is one of the instruments that will be probably there also for the future, and it poses a lot of problems from the social, financial, legal, but also technical perspective. The idea is that blockchain really is a technology which is basically completely distributed, is a public ledger, provides pseudo-anonymity, and those features are inherited by Bitcoin, and basically is the most widespread and used cryptocurrency. The first contribution I would like to discuss with you is this unlawful mining. It's an attack which is called cryptojacking. It's very simple. You have like a computer resource. That computer resource can be used for mining. Assuming you are a company which, of course, bans this activity, there can be malicious employees that still use internal resources from mining cryptocurrencies. Or, for instance, you're browsing a website. The website, while showing you the content you want to see, also in the background with some Java applet, is basically mining cryptocurrency without you knowing it. The problem is very real because there have been people that have been convicted both in US, in Russia, and in Europe for using supercomputers, especially military facilities and in big governmental organizations for doing that. So that's basically the scenario we're going to address. You know, there is the internet, you're a server farm, there are employee workstation. The server farm is used for crypto mining, and so the unlawful employee can get the money that the rewards for mining bring with it. The problem is that there is also the other scenario I just mentioned. Basically, it's not an internal employee, it can be an external attacker that either compromises your browser, but even simply browsing a legitimate website. In the background, you can have some crypto mining activities going on, which can be against the law or can be against even what the typical usages are allowed for companies, for company resources. So the company in any case loses money other than violating law possibly. Why? Well, because if your computing power is devoted to crypto mining, it is not running computation, for instance, simulation for oil and gas, for instance, simulation for warfare scenario, for instance, simulation or even running the electrical grid. So, and in any case, the productivity is decreased. So how is it possible to do something about this threat? Well, there are solutions in the market. Kaspersky, Symantec, McAfee, Avast, all of them are proposing anti-cryptojacking software. Unfortunately, or fortunately from the research perspective, and also from the application perspective, these solutions are ineffective for external threats and inefficient for internal ones. So you cannot detect that someone is running a crypto miner when you're browsing, and it's inefficient for internal usages. Why? Well, because those are network monitoring solutions that basically require access to the clear text. So this means that if your computer is running sensitive information, there is an external software that also can snoop in those information. This is because all the traffic on the Bitcoin is encrypted end-to-end. So here comes the Cybersecurity Research Innovation Lab. We have this idea of leveraging machine learning algorithm to block malicious crypto mining activities. In particular, we devised a crypto mining shield, which runs not on the host computer, but in the network. So it can be on the router or it can be in the firewall, whatever you want. The idea is very simple, and it's based on the following concept that we show in the next slide. In any case, monitoring the encrypted traffic classification, we are able to detect crypto mining activities. Our solution is easy to deploy, is not invasive, is privacy preserving, and the encryption agnostic. It means that whatever type of encryption is running, simply analyzing the encrypted traffic without decrypting it, we are able to say, yes, there is a crypto mining activity going on. The methodology is based on a standard approach, but with good intuition and very solid skills. We generated data through the cryptocurrency network. We intercepted with Wireshark, that's the shark fin, the data that has been transmitted to the router. So that data is basically encrypted. We collect the data, we did feature extraction, we ran machine learning, and then we were able to discriminate network activities that are generated by the cryptocurrency miner from standard activity. This is quite difficult per se, but not only that, we also said, well, but what if someone is using VPN? Because you know that VPN reshapes the traffic. And actually we put in place two VPN, NordVPN and ExpressVPN. We also had the baseline scenario with no VPN, but still the traffic was encrypted. And we considered three cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Monero, and Bitcoin. Our methodology was applied, and the feature extraction highlighted that there were two features that were very important: packet size in real time. We ran standard tools, ML tools, random forest, and KFO cross validation, and these are the exceptional results we achieved. So basically, the area under the curve, which is called AUC, basically says that our solution basically detects with very high accuracy and very high precision the crypto mining activities that are even covered by VPN or them being encrypted. And this solution is quite unique. 1 month ago, this solution has been accepted to one of the main journals in the community, which is Computer Communication. So just to testify that our results are also appreciated internationally. And just to conclude this very brief highlight on the cryptojacking activities, cryptojacking and crypto mining activities now are fully detectable on the network, regardless of the possible encryption. And we also have future works like design and develop a host-based solution for private user like at your home, and increase the cryptocurrencies, because we just consider 3 cryptocurrencies. There are like a couple of thousands. Of course, we will focus on the major 10 ones. So this is for crypto mining and cryptojacking. I want to highlight another result which leverages blockchain and in a very, let's say, innovative manner. So it's blockchain for anomaly detection system. The idea is that, as you know, the blockchain can have a fork, and typically when a fork happens, this means that you have 2 main branches that you can follow. The protocol itself at certain point resolves the issue, so the secondary fork is not really applied anymore. But remember that the second fork that has been generated is still there, is still in your storage. And that fork can be actually leveraged in order to distribute malicious payload. So this is a great intuition that has not only been verified experimentally, but also these results have been very well published in an IEEE journal. And the idea is that we are the first one to say that, hey guys, these forks can be used to distribute malicious payload, and with a quite a genius intuition by the colleagues, this result is in collaboration with Bell Labs, by the way, we have been able to leverage the same forks to be able to build an intrusion detection, or better, an anomaly detection system on the blockchain itself. So in this way, our solution advice is capable of analyzing data that are on the secondary forks, and it's able to figure it out whether there are recurrences, and to figure it out whether it's a malicious payload that is going to be sent around. So this means that we are able to do something with a bit of an overhead. How much overhead? Well, actually very little, because you need to see, I mean, it's an overhead in terms of storage, and it's quite limited. As you can see, the overhead is below 10% when the size of the network of the blockchain exceeds a given threshold, which is, by the way, is more than that for the standard blockchain. So with a few percentage overhead, you're able to run an intrusion detection system that takes care of a novel threat, which probably has not been addressed yet by the major companies. So it's a research result that also has clear application. In particular, this conclusion for our intrusion detection system, we have shown that through the blockchain is possible to piggyback malicious payload, and those piggybacking is very, very dangerous, because you basically do not have a look at what data is there, because it's the data that is normally run by the blockchain. So our solution is the first solution in the whole panorama of intrusion detection system that is aimed at blockchain technology, which has been said before by our colleagues, that is the technology. Yeah.
Yes. 1 minute. Thank you.
1 minute, fine. And then we have another result, the third one result, which for which I will just go through the conclusion, because this is the most rich in terms of theoretical impact, application impact, and company impact. And the result is basically this one. We are the only ones at this moment in HBKU, worldwide speaking, that have the full Bitcoin transaction graph. Okay. There is no Stanford, there's something similar, they lag behind us. There is a blockchain.com, which is a very successful company, they lag behind us. So this result is in preparation with our communication department, because it's a worldwide result. It is also very impactful from the research point of view, because as you've seen from the slide, it's very rich in terms of implication for graph analysis. And not only that, it also helps in highlighting malicious actually suspicious transaction on the blockchain related to Bitcoin. That could also hint for money laundering activities. So it's a very high applicable result. In general, conclusion for the MPRP we have been discussing up to now, it's a very successful project. Thank you to QNRF for bringing us. Still 2 years to go, exciting results to come. There are more than 25 papers in top venue ACM and EEE that have been published. I really would like to thank you. And if you have any curiosity about the further research activities we are running in our research group, please visit our creelab.net webpage. And if you want to keep in touch, please don't hesitate to contact me via email. So thank you very much. I'm open for any type of question.
Thank you, Professor Roberto, for your presentation and the nice work that you are having now at HBKU. So your team are really hard work on this crypto jacking and the crypto mining shield solution, and it's really very fantastic. So I'm just checking if we have any questions so far. No. Okay, I have a very quick reaction regarding. So this solution will be, let's say, try to detect the illegal cryptocurrency miners that they are trying to have access to and make a legal move inside the network of, like, let's say, Bitcoin. But my question here, because there is a new technology now and a new type of cryptocurrency where the mining is not done by miners or a server, a trusted one, and so it's completely decentralized, and it is done on mobile. They call it mobile mining. So there is a new type of new generation of Bitcoin, so that they are mined through mobile and mobile. So is this solution can be applied as well in this category?
It needs some re-engineering, of course, because the context is completely different. And on mobile, the major limitations we have is not storage, it's not computation in terms of adding further checks, but in terms of energy consumption. And the point is that if the user is willing to do that, it's fine. The problem is, what if the resources of the users are used against his will? So I am on my mobile, I visit the web page, and then the crypto mining is in the background, which is actually depleting my battery. So for sure, it's a completely different but quite interesting scenario, because I'm pretty sure the attackers are already on that point, and we can maybe give a closer look to this interesting hint. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed.
Thank you, Professor Roberto, again for your time and your interaction with us. So all the luck for the rest of your 2 years, remaining 2 years on this project, and hopefully we will have more exciting results.
We will.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have now Professor Abdelaziz Bouraz. He's a full professor at Computer Science Department, College of Engineering at Qatar University. He was awarded a project on the application of blockchain technology on a very promising industry locally and worldwide of the blockchain. So, and supply chain, sorry. Professor Aziz, the audience are listening to you, but just for 12 minutes.
Yes, thank you very much, Doctor. Let me just find my slide that I shared with you now. Do you see my slide?
Yes, and you are on live. So yes, perfect. Go ahead, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmed, for giving me the opportunity to present our work here. So our work is related to designing a smart contract-based blockchain system for multimodal supply chain systems for industrial applications. So it is in collaboration, it is made in collaboration between Qatar University, so mainly the College of Engineering and the College of Business, and RMIT Melbourne, and with collaborations, contributors like Qatar Rail and the Ministry of Transport and Communication. So we are dealing here with the supply chain context, which is really complex nowadays. So a modern supply chain looks like this, and we have thousands or maybe sometimes hundreds of thousands of documents and information exchanged between all the stakeholders of the supply chain, depending on the complexity of the product, of course. So on the right, I put some characteristics of such supply chain. A supply chain is dynamic. It means that you can always plug or delete members or information from the supply chain in real time. It's highly distributed. It's very complex, highly collaborative, and prone to some issues that I put on the left, challenges like transparency, traceability, security, and this lead also to bigger problems in general, problems of trust, of resilience, of efficiency of the supply chain itself. So this is a huge problem that most of the companies are really dealing with, mainly nowadays with the problem of pandemics, etc., and the digital transformation. So we are working with one of our stakeholders, Qatar Rail, to focus on one of their issues related to the supply chain, mainly related to the procurement phase. So the objectives globally of the project are to establish, of course, a full system requirement specification about this problem, to design and develop a specific blockchain-based supply chain platform, mainly based on scenario, because we cannot develop all the platform, implement a smart contract templates, and from the theoretical point of view, we would like also to enhance the blockchain consensus mechanism to contribute to the to solve the security issues, and of course to test the impact of our work within the Qatari context with our stakeholders. So just to summarize our work from the methodology point of view, so we are having some fundamental work related to the formal methods to ensure the soundness of the smart contracts. We are working on dynamic behaviors of the smart contracts, as I told you, because the smart contracts are made more or less in real time in the supply chain. If you have a new partner coming in the supply chain, you have to deal it in the real time, and you have to build smart contracts for them. So there is a real problem of dynamicity of the smart contracts. And then consumption algorithms for privacy, as I said. From the application point of view, and I will focus today on some results related to the integration framework itself between the supply chain information from one side and the blockchain from the other side. And I will let you know a little bit about our work related to the transformation of traditional paper contracts to smart contracts, because this is something very important. We have some rules, but we can have also paper contracts exchanged between the supply chain members, and one of the need of our stakeholder is to try to make this automatic. And then detecting the anomalies, I will show you what kind of anomalies we can have. So just to go quickly, I will just present one or two small scenarios, and I really simplifying them because I cannot put all the information here. So when you see here, it is one case of the interaction between what we have developed in terms of blockchain and the information system of the supply chain. So you can see on the left, for example, if we focus on our example here on the ERP, which is one of the numerous information systems in the supply chain. So we can talk about the WMS for the warehouse management system. We can talk about the CAD systems. We can talk about TMS, transportation management system. We can have dozens of hundreds of information systems or tools that are belonging to the same supply chain. Here I'm focusing only on the ERP, and we worked on Odoo, which is an open ERP, so it makes the implementation easier for us. But of course, we can do the same thing with SAP, with Oracle, with others. So here from the ERP, we are mainly interested in the data model itself and the rules, we call this the business rules, that shape the interaction and the possibilities of communication with the other information systems. So here we worked on an integration broker between this information system and between the blockchain framework that we are using. So quickly, I simplified here the scenario. So we have designers, we have customers, we have transporters, we have suppliers, we have manufacturers, and we can go beyond this. We can have several designers, several customers, one manufacturer, many suppliers, etc. But I mean, I simplified here, and we are using Odoo, as I said, for the integration, and we are using Hyperledger Fabric for the blockchain. So quickly, we define the roles of all the stakeholders in the supply chain. This is just a small example, which is the roles and the activities, the process of a designer. So a designer, when he receives from the customer on the left, when he receives a request to design, so he has to interact. For example, here he can notify the acknowledgement of the request. He can start working on the design. He can send quotation, invoices, and then at the end, he delivers the design if everything is okay. So this is the example on which we worked on. So here, just for explanation, so when the customer is sending the design request, so automatically a smart contract, as you can see here on the right, is developed. Definitely, we used the existing templates. So we define these templates for all the activities. And here we are just in the execution. So if everything and all the information is okay, so the smart contract is validated with a status number 2, for example, here. And then on the dashboard of Odoo, the ERP, we call this the Kanban view, we see that the design is initiated. So you can see here on the left, the design is initiated. It was validated by the smart contract, and we have also the ERP broker log here where we can test all this. Then for the designer, he will see on his interface that the design is initiated, so he can start working. And then when he start touching the design and etc. So you can see here on the right that the design contract is changing its status just to see how it works. And finally, at the end, when he finishes the work, I escaped here other activities, like, for example, sending quotations, sending invoices, etc. So when he finishes, definitely he has to deliver actually his design to the customer. So he has to specify his file, he has to upload his file, and then he has to send it to the customer. So here you can see the status, the design contract have been validated, and the status also have been upgraded. And here you can see that the design have been delivered without any issue to the stakeholder. So, and then you can see here on the dashboard that the design is delivered, the design of the machine have been delivered in a safe way. So we made this scenario and we tested it, so it's working. So we used some data from the stakeholder also to check it. So it was validated. Now the issue is it's not sufficient because, as I told you, so we don't have only one ERP like Odoo. In the supply chain, we have dozens or hundreds sometimes of systems, and we cannot make this synchronous work between the blockchain and the platform and each system. So it's a little bit difficult. We cannot make it every time. So now we are working on a second scenario, which is building a meta model for all the models that we have. So for all the known ERPs, known systems, WMS, TMS, we are trying to use their model, make some tests, and then create a generic meta model, which is on the top actually of all these models. Here we are talking about the interoperability. Sorry, I forgot the name. So here we are in the real interoperability case. So we need to have a real interoperability between the blockchain platform and all the existing systems in the. So here we are testing right now. We did not finish. We are testing the methodologies related to MDE, the model-driven architectures, the model-driven engineering. So we are really in the middle of the work. Then,
one minute, please.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we are working also on the transformation, as I told you, of the paper contracts to smart contracts. Here we are having Bajila with us, a PhD student at Qatar University, where we are trying to collect the data. This is not very easy because we don't have them, available everywhere, but we succeeded in having enough data to start our training and testing, etc. So now she's in the data set annotation, because we need to annotate all this data to be able to run NLP techniques on them. So this is a first thesis related to the project, and a second PhD thesis by Tahani related to the anomaly detection. As I told you, in the flow of the supply chain, we have a lot of data and sometimes we have errors. So this is an example of a concrete procurement flow. So no need to get in details because I don't have time, but you can see the kind of problems that we have is, for example, here is the normal process. Then we can skip some activities, we can rework others. We can have some activities that have been detected earlier in the process and it's not normal, or late in the process. We can have switch between activities, we can have problems with the attributes, and we can have also some information which was inserted in the process and it was not intended by the procurement team. So we are, with Tahani, we are defining an architecture to go very quickly to when we detect actually a case. So we are using LSTM, deep learning technique, to actually predict the problem. So we have here also a lot of data that we have collected, and we try to detect the problem. And as soon as we detect it, so we put it in an ontology, and this ontology is used for the smart contracts. So when we have a smart contract, we test first, we look to the ontology for all the cases where we have a problem to be sure that our smart contract is good or not. So thank you very much, and sorry, Dr. Ahmed, if I'm a little bit late.
No.
I really take the opportunity to thank QNRF about their help, and also to thank all our collaborators, RMIT, Qatar Rail, and the Ministry of Transport and Communication for all the work that they are really doing with us, and also for our colleagues from Qatar University, mainly Dr. Belaid and my colleagues in the university.
Thank you, Dr. Aziz, for your presentation. So it's clear and straight to the point. We enjoy it as usual, and I know that you have also certain collaboration with the two stakeholders, mainly two stakeholders regarding two use cases, and that very interesting to see the outcome of this collaboration and the outcome of your planned events for the, because you need to, as you have mentioned to us, to work partner to know about their challenge, what's the need, and what's the requirement to implement this type of new technology in their businesses, and it becomes adopted by those partners. I think there is no question, so I will very quickly. I have some clarification, if possible. So one of the interesting parts in this project is the switch from paper-based, which are cumbersome contract, the regular or the usual one, to automated and easy to manage smart contract, which we know that this is the future now. So this will have a huge impact, definitely in various businesses. So just can you explain in less than 1 minute how and which technique allow you this switch?
Yeah, as you said, Dr. Ahmed, I think, yeah, the issue is not easy at all. And the problem that we have in the supply chain is the diversity of the documents, actually, because it depends on the company, on the nature of the tasks. So we have a huge diversity in terms of paper contracts. When you open a contract, so you have articles, about the collaboration, about if you are late, the penalties, etc., and it's written in different ways. So with Bajila, we collected actually some around, I think, 100,000 contracts from other domains, just to be sure that the NLP techniques that she's developing are working. And then our stakeholder is giving us few contracts, but I mean that we'll use it just for the testing. Yeah, but definitely to answer your question, so we are using NLP techniques. And Bajila is now working mainly on the data annotation, as I told you, because you need really to annotate everything, and it's really cumbersome. We found some databases with annotations, but it's still not sufficient. So we will take time on this, but we definitely will do it. But she's using NLP techniques.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Aziz, again for your presentation. So now we move to a very interesting presentation also by Professor Erkan Serpeddin. He's a full professor at Electrical and Computer Engineering in Texas A&M University at Qatar. And he will show us another interesting use case of blockchain technology applied to energy sector. Awesome. So Professor Erkan, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. Just want to share the screen. I'm hoping that, let me just try again. I'm not sure if you can see the screen. No, I don't think. Let me try again. Okay. Now, do you see the screen, the presentation? Because
yes. Yes.
Okay.
And
okay.
You are live. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you. So the next 10 minutes or so, I'll talk about our NPRP Cycle 12 project that deals with enabling efficient integration of electric vehicles in Qatar's smart grid. And we're going to deal especially with planning, operation, and cybersecurity aspects. So this is a collaborative project with Professor Mohamed Ismail and Mohamed Mahmoud from Tennessee Tech University in the United States, and Professor Mustafa Shaban from University of Waterloo in Canada, as well as a company in Turkey. So this project basically deals with deployment of charging facilities, electric vehicle charging facilities in a large, let's say, city, together with development of the policies for charging efficiently the electric vehicles. So this problem is caused by the fact that, as you know, there is a worldwide trend in adoption of electric vehicles worldwide, and this graph here shows the number of electric vehicles that are expected, to be deployed during the next 20 years. You can see that by 2040 we expect 60 million, and you can see also in this bar chart also the number of vehicles in different, major, regions of the planet. And furthermore, we also we are well aware of the fact that even in Qatar, the government of Qatar expressed interest in deploying manufacturing plants for electric vehicles here in the Middle East area. And not only this, but also the fact in many cities and major cities in Europe, as you know, in the next 10 years, many cities are gonna prohibit running of gasoline-based cars inside big cities, and they will only allow electric vehicles. So it's a trend that motivated our study, and so this project deals with three fundamental problems that we would like to address. And the first question is where and when to allocate economic electric vehicle charging facilities such that electric charging load is properly satisfied. So this question actually to answer this question in this project, we plan to develop a dynamic spatio-temporal planning strategy, okay, that not only allocate, the electric vehicle charging, stations across, let's say, a large-scale city, but also, we'll have to also allocate the generation units as well as, intelligent, charging, policies for electric vehicles in order to achieve minimum installation cost, to ensure maximum utilization of the efficiency of the charging station, to minimize the blocking probability of the charging request, as well as to satisfy the power grid's technical constraints. And this is a serious challenge because in a large-scale city, as you imagine, the electric vehicles are spatially distributed, the density varies, and the charging station needs to be properly distributed in space, and also the policies needs also to be properly actually deployed over time. The second question that we want to address in this project deals with how to efficiently coordinate the charging requests of electric vehicles among the charging facilities in a way that does not stress the power grid. So in this regard, our goal here is to propose a real-time charging coordination mechanism that efficiently schedules the electric vehicle charging requests in a manner that accounts not only for the customer satisfaction, but also satisfies the power grid technical limitation. So you don't want to ever stress the grid. In the same time, we don't want really to let electric vehicles users that are not capable of charging their vehicles. So therefore, we proposed a mechanism that relies on big data analysis framework that can efficiently predict current and future electric vehicle charging demands in order to implement a viable coordination strategy. And this strategy, we want it to be fully decentralized, and we want it also to ensure privacy. Okay, so for this reason, we plan to use blockchain in order to collect the relevant information and generate the smart contracts for for the spatial temporal charging schedules. So essentially, we're going to look here to a consortium blockchain type of technology in order to generate the smart contracts and the intelligent charging schedules. And finally, the last question here deals with how to guarantee smooth operation of electric vehicle charging facilities when the system is targeted by a cyber attack. In this regard, our goal here is to develop AI tools to detect malware attacks. And in this regard, we're gonna not also look to AI technologies to to use them as a proactive strategies to prevent the spread of malware within EV charging and communication networks, and to minimize the impact of these cyber attacks on the charging coordination efficiency. So basically, the three main scientific objectives are, to summarize, are the development of a dynamic spatio-temporal planning strategy for electric vehicle charging facilities. Then we are looking then to implement these strategies using a real-time blockchain-based charging coordination strategy. And finally, we're going to build intelligent AI-based deep learning detection and proactive operation strategies against cyber attacks. So the project itself involves, development of technology readiness level TR2 to TR5. So we are looking to develop 3 prototypes. Okay, one will be a software planning tool for dynamic spatio-temporal allocation of electric vehicle charging facilities. Then we're going to look towards developing a blockchain-based prototype for real-time charging coordination using Raspberry Pis, along with the software development. And finally, we look to the incorporation of the deep learning-based malware detection and response strategy in the blockchain-based charging coordination prototype. So it's a snapshot. Our project consists of 3 major work packages. The first work package deals with development of a dynamic spatial-temporal planning strategy for electric vehicle charging facilities, and the core of this work package is development of software testbed. So we'll practically using tools from Statistical Geometry will develop. We already developed, by the way. We are in the first year of this project. We already finished this work package. We already developed a spatio-temporal model for real, power grid, and the reason for why we build this testbed is because, as you know, none of the existing power companies is willing to give us information about, the topology and the data, and therefore, not only that, but this model also allows us actually to conduct all this and to test all the developed technologies in real time, to implement and see how they work in real time. And furthermore, they allow us to generate the data sets that we need for for developing and testing the real-time blockchain-based charging coordination strategies, as well as for testing the AI strategies to detect malware cyber attacks. So so already built this model, and this software prototype is already available. Okay, and based on this prototype, we are currently, developing real-time blockchain-based charging coordination strategies for EVs. So this is the work package number 2 that we're currently working on. And our goal here in this regard is to build a prototype of a blockchain-based charging coordination. And this also prototype also is also equipped with deep learning units to predict the future and charging requests. And also we are looking here to use deep learning based data validation strategies, and once that this package is completed, our next goal is to build the detection and proactive operation strategy against malware cyber attacks. So our goal here is to develop an intrusion detection mechanism that can detect the presence of malicious malwares, and in this regard, we are looking for the 3 main goals here: the development of deep learning detection strategy for of infected chargers, then development of charging coordination response strategy that should be operational under malware attacks, and furthermore, we'll be looking towards the implementation of a blockchain-based prototype for the charging coordination response strategy. So,
so in terms of 1 minute, please.
Yes, in terms of accomplishments so far, we already built and already, have the algorithm that, that allows the dynamic joint allocation of electric vehicle charging station and distributed generation units in spatial-temporal expanding grids, And this shows one example on how, if the grid evolves in time, how, to do the allocation of the electric vehicles to different stations and how to, allocate the charging units. And this shows you, one of recent results show us, okay, the benefits on how to do this, allocation of charging stations across a time window of 5 years. So, and also, we've been showing that if we do the right spatial coordination, besides the temporal coordination, the significant gains can occur. We have shown that gains of the order of 30% in terms of energy utilization can happen. Furthermore, we already have developed already an Ethereum blockchain to run the charging coordination strategy and generate optimal charging schedules. And this strategy eliminates the need for charging coordination units, and the operator and customers can directly interact with each other in order to reach optimum charging coordination decisions. This is still an ongoing work. And finally, we are working currently and already have developed, AI-based, smart contracts for prediction of EV charging loads and for detection of malwares. So what we expect at the end of this project, we expect theoretical frameworks, okay, as I said before, the planning software, okay, that can be used for planning, operation, and cybersecurity aspects. We also expect development of technical solutions like multi-year dynamic joint algorithms for distribution of electric vehicles and generation units. We're also looking for the prototype of a real-time blockchain-based charging coordination strategy. And also we're looking for the implementation of this on test beds, okay? So in terms of publication, these are our publication in the first year of this project. And with this, I would like to thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Erkan, for your presentation and for all the ongoing work that you are tackling with your team under this project. So the blockchain-based EV charging optimization of the network and between the different players is very interesting, and it's another type of or use case of the blockchain technology where we can use it, and it will be efficient and it will optimize the EV charging network. So let me come back to the smart contract prediction mode. Or model. So usually these type of contracts are activated automatically once certain conditions are met in the network. So this is what we know about the smart contract. So however, here in your work, so you added a prediction model or a layer based on I think on RNN or recurrent neural network with hidden layers to design a deep learning based smart contract prediction. So can you just further explain how and why the reason behind this model? Thank you.
This is only a preliminary work, okay, of us. So it's with this we are actually looking, to take advantage of the information that if we know, let's say we can predict the charging patterns of electric vehicles, okay, then we can use this information, okay, in the blockchain, okay, so that we can, if we can make efficient, the scheduling of the electric vehicles, okay, to the grid, okay. We also, try to use similar. This is not, the final structure that we are using. We are using more complicated structure than this one. This is just, for the sake of illustrating a very simple structure. We are using also structure, okay, deep learning structures to detect nodes, okay, or EVs that infect, okay, charging stations. So we want effectively to localize the nodes that are already affected by malwares, and then through this to minimize the impact, okay. So and therefore we are using a consortium type of blockchain in order to localize, and then once that we localize, then we can then minimize the impact of the malware infected nodes on the whole grid. So So we are using, I mean, much more complicated, I mean, deep neural networks than this one. So this is just, I mean, very simplistic scheme that we have used, especially for prediction of the loads in the future. But for the other, we are going now towards graphical neural networks. I mean, GNNs, a little bit more complicated. That allows us only to do not only the localization but also to detect. Okay, and based on this, we. Okay.
Thank you, Professor Erkan. So it's very clear. And let me check if we have. I think yes, we have one question from. I think from Professor Jim G. So thanks, Dr. Serpedin, for the talk. My first question is: do you expect EV charge in Qatar will be free of charge in the near future to boost the EV adoption? Second question: if not free, do you vision a secure and convenient mobile payment system linked to previous talks of charging station?
Regarding the first question, I do not believe that we can deploy charging station to be free, because what happens is that in order to keep control, especially in malls where we have a limited number of charging stations, and we have, especially during peak hours, we have a lot of users that are will come, and you don't want to overload the power grid. So if you want to keep control, one of the practical mechanisms for which you can keep the control is by increasing the price. So you have a dynamic price, and this will gonna basically, discourage, people to, at the peak hours and at the peak in areas with high concentration of, users, to discourage them, or eventually you can create incentives. For example, if you go and you have electricity in your car, you can donate back to the grid. So having free, I don't believe that allowing free charging will, and on top of this, the electricity is not free, and generating it costs. So regarding the second question, yes, I believe that the future is in the use of the cell phones, and basically this to be done automatically. Basically, we already studied this problem of, what type of information should be sharing among the users and the charging stations, and the state of the battery. I mean, the time that is available, okay, to charge it. So all of this information, I mean, should be, what we are studying now is this information to be shared among, this network using the blockchain, and then the blockchain then itself is going to generate all these smart contracts. We're going to do the scheduling automatically. So I suspect that this should be done ultimately via cell phones, an app that can automatically can direct all the users where they should go. So essentially, we're looking eventually to this type of solution.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Erkan, because I agree with you on the. So there is some, on the second question, there is some solution that they use them even in the petrol station now with the contactless, so that you can use and for payment and charging station. There can be another use case of the same solutions that now they are contactless. You don't need anyone to just you put your petrol and with the credit. So you have an application and you can just move. You don't need to pay anyone else or to interact with anyone. So yeah, and we have another question from Dr. Ali Al-Aboudi. So he said, "Salam, Dr. Erkan. So the project has amazing algorithm and model, and what's the project plan to engage with the realistic scenario in Doha and local stakeholders? So what's the ongoing engagement with the local stakeholders, or there is any specific scenario that you are targeting now inside Doha?"
We are very much interested to collaborate with Kahramaa. I know that there is currently a company that already is under. This is company going to manufacture electric vehicles here in Qatar. I know that there are some plans for this. However, we believe that the fact that we have this software test bed, okay, that allows us actually to build this the power grid, okay, especially and temporally based both in space and time to mimic a practical power grid. For example, this network you see here mimics actually the power grid of a city in state of Florida. I don't even know the city. It's actually, and also with this type of software tools, we can actually try to mimic, for example, the power grid of let's say of Doha, and eventually, we can now, if we have, let's say, an interest of deploying this, these charging stations, and and also we can also predict. If we have, let's say, a certain distribution of, let's say, electric vehicles, we can also, develop and actually offer this type of, smart, allocation of these, resources, both for the charging stations as well as for the electric vehicles, where these electric vehicles should go. And this will be very useful for the companies here that we work. So this software, and not only software, this will be first tested here in real time, and then can be easily deployed in, for the real grid. So therefore, I believe that
very clear, Dr. Erkan. Thank you so much. Thank you. We need to move on. So there is one comment I need to share it with the audience, that Andrew, from Dr. Andrew. He said that the open banking data sharing regulations around tech world have also been used the shared data from energy companies and telecommunication providers on services provided, cost and product details. So this also a comment from Dr. Andrew. Thank you so much. Thank you again, Dr. Professor Erkan, and keep the good work, and thank you for presenting us today the outcome of your project. So last and not least, I would like to welcome Miss Amina Al-Ansari, which is a student at Business Department Community College of Qatar. Her team of students was awarded a Europe project designed for undergraduate students on fintech, under the mentorship of Dr. Fikri Al-Shawtari and Dr. Ibrahim Makboul. So, Miss Amina, the floor is yours, but for 7 minutes only, to present the summary of your project, objective and main results, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everyone. I'm Amina Al-Ansari, a student at Community of College. Today, I will present about antecedent and innovation outcome of the financial technology, fintech adoption in the financial industry in Qatar, a preliminary result. Advisor by Dr. Fikri and Dr. Ibrahim Makboul. The application of innovation.
I think, Amina, we cannot see the presentation. Sheikh Abdullah, can we see?
We cannot see the presentation.
Yeah, we cannot see the presentation.
Just a moment.
Can you share the presentation, please?
Now, Doctor.
Yes, I think Sheikh Abdullah, if you can put her on live. Yes, now you are on live, so that you can start, but you have 6 minutes and a half now.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everyone. I'm Amina Al-Ansari, student at Community of College. Today, I will present about antecedent and innovation outcome of the financial technology fintech adoption in the financial industry in Qatar. Preliminary result advisor by Dr. Fikri and Dr. Ibrahim Makboul. The application of innovation digital solution for the provision of financial service has led to rapid emergence of fintech. In 2019, the Gulf Times reported that the fintech adoption in the Qatar requires a few prerequisites, including the right regulatory environment, competitive operation costs, and government support and funding, and robust financial service sector. The aim of this study is to investigate the anticipate and innovation outcome of financial technology fintech adoption in the financial industry in Qatar. The problem and the gap. The literature on fintech and its adoption is still scarce. Very few studies have empirically tested this adoption. Building on this, it's very important to determine the main antecedent and the innovation outcome of the fintech adoption. Here is our study model. We have 7 antecedents in the left-hand side that affect of fintech adoption. While we can see from the right-hand side, there are 3 outcomes that are process innovation, product innovation, and innovation capability. The method of our study type, a preliminary result, method, quantitative, data tool, questionnaire, and survey, analyze tool, smart plus, simple 56. And this is our model after the test. The result of our study show a few interesting findings. All our hypotheses were supported except hypothesis H2, hypothesis H5, hypothesis H6. For example, hypothesis H1, top management support was supported as we have p-value less than 0.05, while hypothesis H2, perceived ease use, was rejected as the p-value is more than 0.05%. That indicates that most of the variables are important antecedent in promoting of fintech adoption. Therefore, all the hypotheses of outcome were supported by data. The summary of our report, that development of the fintech tool was challenge to the traditional business model. The results from previous work show that the main activity of fintech in the selected countries very significant and are strongly influenced by majority of fintech marketing. The model needs to be tested by larger empirical work, including financial industrial players. The proposed model is useful as a guide for manager and financial related organization because it can enable them to focus on a new possibility to improve innovation. Thank you for listening. Any question?
Thank you, Amina. And this project was given the opportunity to present under our roles to show QNRF commitment to also for the capacity building and to have students that they are embarking and taking the lead to do some research work on this smart technology and future technology that like the theme of today, which is fintech and blockchain. Thank you again, Ms. Amina. So just as a quick, so you have done a good study and you have presented the outcome of this preliminary study today. So what is about the next step?
I can pass the question for Dr. Maqbool, Ibrahim Maqbool. Dr. Ibrahim?
Yes, thank you very much to Ahmed and attendees. Regarding the, as you see, it is a preliminary result. Now
see your camera. Sir Ibrahim, we cannot see the camera.
Okay, can you see now?
Yes, yes.
So as you see, it is student work and it is preliminary result. Now, currently we are working in 2 themes. The first theme is to upgrade the sample, and we already collected 126 respondents, and we are going to retest the model to upgrade the result. And we are going to also, for future work, we have 2 publication under review from this project. Plus, we have future work regarding research paradigm to make a mixed method, as all the presenter talking about algorithm and talking about prototyping. We are going to enhance the model to make a mixed paradigm instead of, because you know our study is a behavioral model. So
thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim. Thank you for all this clarification. So I need before closing this. Yes, before closing this, can you see my sharing? Sheikh Abdullah. Hello.
Yes, Doctor. You need to share.
I need to re-share.
Yes, it's okay now.
Yes. So before closing this session, I would like to share with you some quick figures about the QNRF-funded project in this specific area, not including the enabling technology that are around it, like machine learning, artificial intelligence, etc. So we have granted in very specific area of fintech and blockchain-based technology. So 10 projects submitted by 5 different institutions, local institutions. They are collaborating locally with 9 other institutions, including 17 international ones. So the local budget that QNRF has spent so far is above 6.6 million US dollar. And this project were successful to bring 6 co-funders. They are local co-funders with a total committed fund of 815,000 US dollar, which is nearly 15% of additional budget in this area. So in terms of human capital, so we have 64 PIs are involved in addition to 6 postdoc and 32 graduate students. So various outcomes were registered so far in this very specific theme in terms of production, scientific production, and public engagement. The number of granted patents is still nil, which is understandable as these grants started 2018 onward. So we are still new investing in this area. And I need to mention that we have 31 proposals, and we granted 10 proposals out of the 31 proposals. A success rate of 32%. Is registered in this in the blockchain and fintech area, and we know that the average area in a success rate in QNRF is between 22 to 25%, and this clearly shows the QNRF commitment to support these new technologies and to invest on them. So we are accelerating, and but still we are driving or maneuvering safely. The main takeaway out of this quick figures and 2 days presentation is that we have a solid and growing research activities under this theme with a strong public governmental support, yet they are still on the laboratory scale or level. So, and secondly, increasing the capacity building and local human capital is of high priority to QNRF. And thirdly, it is critical to connect with the industry and to increase the expected TRL or technology readiness level and move to a pilot scale. So at the end of this informational event, I would like to thank first our presenters for their dedication to research and being here among us to present the outcome of their hard work. Secondly, the audience and for their patience and interaction. And last but not least, I would like to thank very much my QNRF colleagues in their support to organize and help me to organize in this ROS. Hope you enjoyed the presentations and found them interesting and useful. Please refer to our website www.qnrf.org for our newsletter, our Executive Director, Dr. Abdel Sattar messages, our new open calls, and the recently launched new programs. So all our updates will be on our website. So thank you once more for attending this broadcast. Bye-bye, and see you soon for the next ROS, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for this presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for organizing this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Munir. Thank you all. So are we